All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel, Sporting with Smitty. I'm your host, Smitty. Now, for the first time today, I'm going to be doing for the first time really on the channel, I'm going to be doing a power rankings for the NBA. I've thought about doing it monthly, but I've kind of just decided that I'm just going to do another one at the All Star break and then another one at the end of the season. Um, at the end of the regular season, that is. I mean, playoffs, it'll be kind of too obvious who's going to be number one, and I'm not really down for that. So please let me know in the comments below how you guys feel about these power rankings. How you think that, I mean, where do you guys feel that some of these teams are? I know I'm going to have some kind of hot takes here, so just stand by for that. And starting with a number 30 is a team I really don't hold in high regard. And that's just because they're just not a very well run organization. They're kind of just a middle of the road organization that has just been, they pop up every now and then, but then again, they go right back into the dumpster, even with the big names that they might have. And that's the Washington Wizards. For me, the Wizards are just a team that just isn't really that good. I mean, yeah, they acquired Jordan Poole, and he has outperformed all of my personal expectations in this preseason. But I don't like how this team is run. I don't like how they play basketball. I just don't like it. And trading a cornerstone piece, it needed to be done. One for Bradley Beal because that guy deserves to win. As a Gator fan, he deserves to win. Bradley Beal, and he was stuck on a I would call a poverty franchise, and because that's what the Wizards are, they're a poverty franchise. And looking at their roster, they do have some names here. They have Kuzma. Obviously, like I said, they have Jordan Poole. They just acquired Gallinari, who, yes, he's coming off of a big injury that basically he didn't even. He wasn't even really a Celtic in my eyes. Um, Outside of that, I mean, they have Gafford. They have a couple of names on there that might be able to do something for them to help them build some kind of some kind of success that maybe down the road you'll see. But outside of that, I really just don't see anything from this team. They rotate through coaches like it's crazy. I mean, Wes Unseld. I think Wes Unseld Jr. is there. Um, and he did a pretty good job last year with all the injuries that they were facing. But with Bradley Beal gone, and obviously trading Porzingis, I mean, I just don't see where this team really makes any noise in the Eastern Conference. Because I can name a lot of other teams in the East right now that I think are better than this team. And one of them, but not by much, number 29, the Charlotte Hornets. This team is just something else. I mean, I understand Jordan is gone now. I think officially he's gone. And maybe that might change it. I mean, they were 27 and 55 last year, but also those LaMelo Ball, I believe, got hurt. I'm looking at this team and I'm just like, where are they going to be? Where are the big name? Where are the players that are going to be really doing anything for them? Like, I mean, they lost Kelly Oubre, which I thought that was such a dumb decision. Getting rid of Kelly Oubre, who was one of their best scorers and best wing players last year, I couldn't believe it when I saw the news that they got rid of Kelly Oubre. I do like the pick of Brandon Miller in the draft. I like that. I think he can bring that scoring ability that they need. Somebody just to be a number two to LaMelo Ball. Because I'm sorry, Terry Rozier, he's wildly inconsistent. He was inconsistent in Boston, and I thought the same thing. Gordon Hayward, I don't, I mean, Gordon Hayward is probably on his last leg. Outside of that, I mean, I mean, they do have Cody Martin still, but there's really nobody there. Maybe Miles Bridges can do something, but there's really nobody there that really can get, can put them in a position to be successful right now. I mean, it's more of a long term rebuild, obviously, because I mean, Jordan obviously did not build a good team. I mean, he finally got a pick right with LaMelo Ball, but I mean, outside of that, he has ran that franchise into the ground, and that's another one of those poverty franchises. The Charlotte Hornets, I mean, they were like that with the Bobcats, minus a couple of random playoff berths, but This is just not a good team. And I honestly hope for that fan base because I mean, you do see that they are a passionate fan base. I hope for that fan base they do something sooner or later before Ball just says, "I'm out," and they trade him. That's coming from me personally. But I mean, Jesus, it's just not it's not looking good for them. And I don't see it looking good for them for a long time. But I do see LaMelo Ball putting up some big games here soon. I see that though. So maybe I mean maybe Hornet fans can take solace in that. Coming at number 28 is a team that I really hold personally in high regard, but I just don't think they're there yet. They just don't have everything in place yet. And that's the Detroit Pistons. I mean, I love Cade Cunningham. He played fantastic. He's been playing great. I mean, my and I mean, he his season and that 17-65 record is really based on him being out for a long period of time. I mean, I think they've really helped Marvin Bagley turn it around. I mean, I've seen Bagley play against the Celtics. He is a monster on the boards. He's just a monster in the paint. He's a good player that I think Sacramento gave up too early on. Like they gave up on him too early. But I personally, I hold Detroit in very high regard. I think they're a very good team, a very good young team that is just a couple of pieces away from maybe making some noise. They got excellent talent, Cade Cunningham. Now they finally have a great coach. Casey just wasn't doing it for them, and it was just getting worse and worse. Granted, like I said, injuries had a say in it, but overall, I'm excited to watch this Detroit team play. I think they can finally get back to playing competitive basketball, and even and if everything goes right for them, maybe. And I mean, you can quote me on this. Maybe they could be in the running for uh the play-in. Maybe if things go right, maybe because looking at their team, I mean, Marcus Sasser, the point guard they got from Boston in a trade during the draft, he is unreal. I think he's an exciting player. I mean, Jalen Duran um, is still doing great things. He's still developing. I mean, like I said, this is a young team. You got Killian Hayes. You got, I mean, again, Marvin Bagley. Bogdanovich is still there. I mean, it's really exciting to see this team, and I'm excited to watch them. I mean, I think they're going to be very good. Not this year, maybe next year they can be very good with a couple more pieces added, and Monty Williams doing his magic because he's such a good coach. It's a shame that he had to be let go of Phoenix. Unfortunately, I think he ran his course there, and just all the drama that was there in Phoenix. I'm glad he's able to get a fresh start with a team that could take advantage of what he brings to the table. And coming in at number 27, I know this is going to be a little irritating for some fans, but I'm sorry. It's the Spurs. I know they got Wembanyama, but still, that doesn't hide the fact that overall their roster is meh at best. And I just I don't see it being a complete turnaround like it was when, because I know there's a lot of comparisons to when Duncan was drafted, but I'm sorry. The reason why the Spurs were able to get Duncan and their success just was immediate was because they were already a good team. It was just that the year before they got Duncan, they had just a massive avalanche of injuries, including to David Robinson, that really put them in position to get that pick and get Duncan. I don't see that here. This team was not a good team before him, and I don't think they'll be a good team after when he's there. It's going to take a few years. He's going to perform great, I think. I think Victor Wanyama is going to be great. He's already showing it his talent and how it translates to the league already. Again, I know I said it was preseason, but there's just some guys you look at, you're just like, whoa, look out for them. I mean, outside of them, I mean, other than Wembanyama in the draft, they did get Sadi Osman. He's a good pickup. I mean, he brings good shooting. Just kind of a hardworking guy. Um, Outside of that, I don't see this team uh, winning a lot of games. I think they definitely will win more than 22, but it'll be a stretch if they win 30. If they win 30, I think it'll be a successful season for them in that rebuild. Coming up is another team that I think is going to take a just huge nosedive, and that is Toronto at number 26. Now, I know that they've acquired a lot of pieces. One with, I mean, the new head coach, obviously, Dennis Schroeder. He brings a lot of veteran point guard experience. Grady Dick in the draft. Another Jalen McDaniels, a good defensive guy. But outside of that, I mean, new head coach who hasn't coached before. I mean, he's coming into a team that, I mean, in the last 5 years, did win a title. They did win a title, and a couple of those guys are still there. And I mean, they do have I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but outside of um, Pascal Siakam, who at times I did say, and my friends of mine will attest to that, I did think was a tad bit overrated. But last year, I mean, my opinion did change of him. I thought of him as a really good player. And Scotty Barnes. They do have Scotty Barnes, but I feel like this team, uh, I think if they get off to a bad start, a very slow start, which I think they do under this head coach and a lot of new guys. And I mean, they lost that veteran leadership in Fred Van Fleet. I mean, he was a great point guard. He was great for them, and I think them losing him is going to take a toll early in the season. And depending on how bad it is, maybe. And I mean, this is a strong maybe. I see them maybe trading Pascal Siakam at the deadline and beginning a full official rebuild if things don't go right. That's just me. Now, coming up at number 25, another team that I really hold in high regard, but I just don't think it's there yet. And that's Portland. Portland made some excellent moves. I mean, they lost Damian Lillard, which was I mean, that was official that they began their rebuild. And I mean, you can kind of sense it. I mean, unfortunately, he forced his way out of Portland because, I mean, whatever he wanted to do, that's up to him. But I mean, what they got in return, along with what they got from Boston and the Drew Holiday deal, wow. I mean, it's honestly exceptional with the already young talent. I mean, Shaden Sharp, Jeremy Grant, playing for his hometown team, by the way. I mean, get all that along with Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams III, DeAndre Ayton, Scoot Henderson in the draft, and Tamani Camaro. I mean, this team will not be out rebounded. This team will be very physical in the paint. I can see DeAndre Ayton finally coming back after that, just another kind of bit of drama in Phoenix, where they come back and where he comes back and he has a solid season, and I think he can be in the running for maybe defensive, at least one of the top 5 defensive players in the league, my opinion. This team, they are young, but outside of that, I mean, I honestly see them being also a threat for the play-in. But that just depends on how well the young guys develop and how well they play in big moments this year. Shaden Sharp played very well in the final months of the year. He was unbelievable. He was a scoring machine. So that's what I feel about them. They're right now at number 25. Number 24, a team that has the talent but just never does anything with it. And we're talking about Chicago. Poor DeMar DeRozan. That man needs to get out of there. And I mean, this is another team that just, damn. What else can you say? This team is just like they've had the last few years. They've had so many great pieces. I mean, they have Zach LaVine. They have Vucevic. I mean, again DeRozan. I don't understand where it goes wrong. I mean, again, Alex Caruso, Patrick Williams, just guys that are just very good players, and they never know how to put it together. And Lonzo Ball, as much as I and friends would my friend and friends of mine would even tell me, as much as I talk crap on Lonzo Ball, he's a great defensive player. He is a great defensive player. He is a good point guard for them. And honestly, this team cannot stay healthy. This team can't stay healthy, and I do not think that they have the right coach for their system. They do not have the right coach for the players that they have. And Billy Donovan needs to go. He needs to go. He has not helped this team, to say the least. He has not helped them. They have played some bad basketball. When they are at their best, and they put a couple of whoopings on Boston last year, I've seen them kick the shit out of my Celtics. But boy, there are games where they were just playing. It was just a bunch of stinkers, and I don't get what this front office sees in Billy Donovan. I mean, I know he's a Gator legend, but still, sometimes it just doesn't translate, and I don't think it's translating in the NBA for Billy Donovan. And I think that this year, I think by midseason he's gone. He's gone. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Billy Donovan's gone by midseason, even if they're at 500, because they have too much talent on this team to not be over 500. It's ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. That's why I have him at 24, because honestly, their just inability to work with the pieces around them, it's ridiculous. It drives me nuts. And then coming up at number 23, a team that also kicked the crap out of my Celtics, um, Orlando. Honestly a pleasure to see Orlando finally build something and stick with it for more than like 3 seasons. I mean, it really feels like they're sticking with it this time. And I mean, they have a lot of good young players. This is a very young team, and unfortunately, what Magic teams have done in the past with their young talent is that they have one good year, and a good year for them is like a 30 to 35 win season. But then after that, they just take a massive step back and they win only 25 games, and then whatever happens, then they just tear it all down and rebuild it over again. I mean, it's just I don't know why, but I guess that's just how they run things, and they just can't figure it out, honestly, which kind of sucks because I enjoyed watching the Magic play last year. The Magic they've had some good teams that have shocked people, I think, but they just can't put it together. I do like the signing of Joe Ingles. I like the pick of Anthony Black, quick guard that could really make some makes he's a great playmaker, and I think him matched up with Paolo Banchero can really do something along with the guards that they already have. I mean, you're talking about Markel Fultz, who is really having his career revitalized in Orlando and before his injury, unfortunately. Then obviously you have Cole Anthony, who's just unbelievable, and then you have the German fellow, or at least the German sounding name. For some reason, I'm blanking on names, but damn, what is his name? I'm sorry. Oh man, Wagner, Moritz Wagner, a great player that has just really shown excellent potential. I mean, and Franz Wagner as well. Um, that's what their names are. But I mean, this team just shows I mean, and again, they played well against some very good teams last year. Again, I'll say it again. My Celtics were a team that just could not figure this team out. I don't know why. I don't understand it. But for some reason, this team just ran up and down the floor against my Celtics like there was nothing, like there was nobody there. And it was frustrating, very frustrating. But I see them maybe winning around the same amount of games. Hopefully, I mean, they got a good young coach. He's trying to build something. Mosley is trying to build something there, and I just hope that they stick with this rebuild, stick with these group of guys for as longer. I hope they do that because in the past the Magic have just been so quick to tear it down and just start over, and I don't like it, honestly, personally. So then coming up at number 22, we have a Western Conference team, and that is the Utah Jazz. Now the Jazz outperformed, overperformed expectations last year. I mean, Laurie Markkinen having just an unbelievable season where, I mean, he's shaking off that draft bust label, I think, and he's just been unbelievable. He was unbelievable last year. I mean, well over 20 points per game, I believe. He just really brought it, and he brought that intensity that they've kind of needed, especially after trading away another franchise, a couple of franchise players with Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, first year with Donovan Mitchell, they started off well, but then they just faded away. I mean, they still have great young pieces. I mean, obviously they still have Markkinen. They have Colin Sexton, who's really playing well. They have Walker Kessler, who again has shocked everybody with his ability. And then the acquisition of John Collins, I think, was huge for them. He brings excellent experience, playoff experience, at least with the Hawks. Another guy, you have a young guard and Josh Christopher who really brings it, and then obviously some depth pieces with Yurt Seven, who I mean didn't get too much playing time in Miami, but he was still there and he was still excelling whenever he did come onto the court. And I mean, hell, he has experience and learned under some solid veterans in Miami. I mean, young players who are in that kind of atmosphere, they take in a lot of them. Almost all of them always take in that veteran leadership that they've seen, and they do something with it. And I think year seven, he might not. Obviously, I'm not saying he's going to be the best player or top five player on that team. All I'm saying is that he's going to bring that leadership off the bench. You never know. Coming into another team who really just kind of said, "Screw it, rebuilding. That's it. It's not working." And that's the Brooklyn Nets. This is a team that really just said screw it. They saw that what they had and the whole situation with the stars that they had, it wasn't working. And I got to give them credit. They they said screw it and they rebuilt and they just rebuilt it. And they got a solid piece. I couldn't believe that they were able to steal this man from Phoenix, and that is Mikal Bridges. Mikal Bridges, I mean, he showed you how much better of a player he is, and even better of a player he is when he gets more touches. When he obviously when he played, I think he last year he played the same amount of minutes that he did in Phoenix. It's just now that the offense that is rolling through him now, he's not like the fourth option like he was maybe in Phoenix or the third option. Now that he's the number one option, woo, that man was a scoring machine. He was unbelievable. Plus, with Cam Thomas coming in, and then they have just great defensive guys like they got in the Kyrie deal, Dorian Finney-Smith, and now I mean Dennis Smith Jr. coming in along with Lonnie Walker the fourth. Lonnie Walker the fourth is going to bring some excellent, he's going to bring in some great bench play, I believe. Um, and I think he's good enough to be a starter, but just how great they are at that position on the team. I mean, they look good. They look good, and obviously Nick Claxton down below, down at the five. Oof, nobody's going to drive in the paint on him. He is a blocking machine, and I'm very happy they stuck with Jacques Vaughn. Jacques Vaughn is another great coach. I think he definitely came from the Popovich system, another one of those guys who came from the Popovich system. And I mean, I'm happy he's getting another chance. He deserves it. And he turned that team around. I mean, that team was really a mess after Steve Nash got fired. And just dealing with all the dramatics of Kyrie, dealing with the nagging injuries of Durant, and just all of that stuff. I mean, he took it in stride and he really did an outstanding job coaching. And he's just a guy that I think he's going to be in the running for coach of the year, in my opinion, personally. Jacques Vaughn is another one of those big name. Is a great coach. He's just a great coach. Coming up next, another Eastern Conference team. Sorry, folks. And we're looking at number 20, the Indiana Pacers. Now, I know that I mean, I talk highly of Brooklyn, but Indiana is just another one of those teams that's just they're there. It feels like they're there. You look at their roster up and down, and you say that hey, they have great talent. They have excellent talent. I mean, they just after just signing Bruce Brown, which is a huge signing. Obi Toppin, who's finally going to be getting out of the shadow of Julius Randle, um, and then Walker getting Walker in the draft. I mean, this team has just unbelievable talent. Andrew Nemard, from who played with Gonzaga during that undefeated run, who was just outstanding. He hit a crazy game winner against the Lakers last year. And then obviously down low, Miles Turner. Just, I mean, this team has so much talent. It's just a matter of them putting it together and getting it going. And I mean, Tyrese Halliburton, what a pickup. I'm sorry, just what an excellent pickup. That was one of those rare deals that you see in the NBA, just in sports in general, where both teams won. I mean, the Kings got a guy, they got the guy in Sabonis, but I mean, the Pacers got this guy. They got a guy in Halliburton, just an outstanding player who is just taking leaps forward in his ability to be a leader of a team. And I mean, they still have a solid coach. I mean, Rick Carlisle's a great coach, an NBA champion. Excuse me, and just a great coach. And I see this team, unfortunately, just with the competitive factor of the Eastern Conference, I see them still winning maybe around 35 to 40 games. Maybe if everybody stays healthy, we'll see. And excuse me, Um, I just see them playing well, and I see Tyrese Halliburton taking another step forward. And Buddy Hield, I mean, what a turnaround for him. By the way, I mean he was another one of those guys where you thought that he was a bust, but he turned it around, and I mean he's become another one of those guys in Indiana that's just an excellent scorer, just all around great player. Now coming up at number 19, this team drives me nuts because I just can't stand the star of this team. And I'm, of course, talking about Atlanta. Anybody who knows me knows I'm going to say I don't hold Trey Young very highly as it pertains to overall. I don't. I think he's wildly overrated. I mean, he'll put up crazy games where he'll put up 40, but that's kind of what happens when you just are taking 20 shots. I just don't think he's a good shot taker. I think he really just he's not that guy that he's just not smart as it pertains to taking shots. I mean, he'll take some boneheaded shots from 40 feet out, 35 feet out. And I don't get that. It's wasting a possession. And I mean, the reason why I don't hold this team isn't higher. And I mean, John Collins is a massive loss for them. I mean, I know they've got excellent veteran leadership and just a great guard coming from the draft and Buffkin. But Patty Mills, he's going to bring some leadership to that bench and to that team. Wesley Matthews is going to bring some great value off the bench. But what I see keeping them forward, or keeping them really above water and that, or just at that level, is Deontay Murray. That man does not get the credit that he deserves. He is he is unbelievable. I mean, when he didn't get the ball against Boston last year, I took a sigh of relief because he was just unreal. That guy has the ability to just go off, and I was nervous whenever he had the ball last year. I'm going to be honest. I wasn't too nervous with Trey Young because I know he's going to do something stupid with it, and unfortunately, he didn't at sometimes. I mean, that Game 5 winner still is in my head, and that's just how it is. And also, I'm really excited to see Quinn Snyder get a full year of coaching this team. He came in after kind of a mess last year. I think off the top of my head, with Nate McMillan. Nate McMillan kind of struggled, but then Quinn Snyder came in, and you could feel that it was turning around. Um, I think he just needs a full season to get it really going. I think he just needs a full season with his system in place, and that's where I'm kind of up in the air with this team, along with losing John Collins. John Collins is such a big loss for them. Coming up, another team, Western Conference this time. That's Minnesota. I mean, Ant Man is ridiculous. Edwards is unfreaking real. He is just an unbelievable talent, and anybody who says otherwise, they don't know basketball. And I don't care who you are. If you don't think Anthony Edwards is that guy, you don't know basketball. Period. You just don't. I don't care. Um, the reason why this team isn't higher is because honestly, I just don't get the makeup. I don't get how Gobert and Cat can really function together. I don't I don't get how they can do that. Obviously, they didn't have a lot of time together on the court because it was Carl Anthony Towns got hurt, and excuse me, and he really just missed out, and they really didn't have time to mesh. I mean, he only played 29 games, which is nothing to really build a chemistry. And I mean, he's getting up there in age too. I mean, he is getting up there in age as a center. I mean, yeah, he's going to be. Yeah, I think this is going to be his age 28 season. Um, but the only thing I really am excited to see this team with is Mike Conley. I think he's one of the best guards in the league. He has excellent leadership ability. He's been in big games, in big moments, and I mean, to be able to, I just think this team just they're missing a couple pieces, and I feel like they're going to have to trade somebody out of that lineup, such as either I think they'll have to trade Rudy Gobert or Carl Anthony Towns, that that maybe will be able to get them over the top, depending on who they get in return. You don't know. Their key loss for me is definitely Prince. Prince, I think he's one of the most underrated guys in the league. He's a great player, great shooter, great scorer, just great everything. He does everything. He does everything you need. And the Lakers got a gem. Let's just say that. The Lakers are definitely, they got a lot better. Shake Milton coming in, good guard play for them. He's going to bring some good. He's going to bring some good shooting. I think Troy Brown, another good guy off the bench, that's just going to bring some intensity. I think it'll be. I think it'll be pretty good over there. Coming at number 17, this was hard, honestly. It's a Western Conference team. The only reason why they're not below 20 is because of two guys at the top and a couple of signings. Excuse me. And that's Dallas. I mean, this team should have been. I think their biggest mistake was trading for Kyrie Irving, in my opinion. They traded away really the solid defensive players and solid defensive play for a guy that's maybe going to play 60 games. I mean, I mean, I'm looking at it and I'm like, come on, like, how does he mesh with Luca? Luca is he's a guy that needs the ball. He's a guy who's ball dominant. He needs to have the ball in his hands to do what he does and to be successful. And to get a guy like Kyrie, who's pretty much the same type of player, I don't understand it. And honestly, watching this team play defense last year towards the end of the year, it was just so terrible and so mind numbing to watch. It, I think looking back at it, the biggest regret of this era, 10, 15 years from now, for Mark Cuban will be not re-signing Jalen Brunson. 100%. I don't. That's just ridiculous. And I mean, they did bring in some guys. I mean, Seth Curry is going to bring in some good bench play. Grant Williams is going to be a pissant for them. It's going to be a pain in the ass. And Holmes, another guy who's going to bring some good play off the bench. I can't believe they let go of Christian Wood. I mean, that guy is such a good centerpiece. I mean, it's so frustrating. Uh, I think they do win more than 40 games, but it's going to be all offense and very little defense. Very little defense. Coming up at number 16, a team that I'm very excited to see with all of the changes they've made, and that is Houston. Man, let me tell you, I am so excited to see this team. I mean, I can't think of a team that has a better chance at being successful immediately out of the bottom tier teams that were in the league last year. This team has the best opportunity to be successful right now, immediately. And that's because the hiring of Ime Udoka, who is an excellent coach, miss him in Boston, miss that defense in Boston that he brought, and then bringing in so many veteran talent, so many veteran players, and just great players. I mean, Victor Oladipo, he's not a starter anymore. He's not that guy because injuries robbed him of his prime, which is such a shame. But I think he's going to be an excellent guy off the bench who's going to bring in some big scoring that when they need it, when their guys on the starting lineup are off. Jeff Green, another veteran who's been all over the league, who can bring everything to your team, period. And now he's bringing championship experience. What more can you ask for? Fred Van Fleet, another guy, just fantastic. I mean, what more can you ask for? Dylan Brooks, eh, not more to say about that. Reggie Bullock, another great guy that can bring defensive intensity, and Amon Thompson, just another great player coming into the draft. I look on this lineup and I see this whole roster, and I'm like, there's no way this team doesn't win at least 35 games. At least 35 games. There's no way. No way. So we'll see what happens there. Coming up at number 15 is a team that just is another one of those frustrating Western Conference teams, and that's New Orleans. And this season is really going to be based around whether Zion gets his crap together. Um, I look at Zion and I just see, damn, what a waste. What a waste. This guy really had the opportunity to be the best player in the league with his talent. And I mean, honestly, he's just kind of pissing it away. Thank God for Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram, another one of those great young guys in the league right now. That man is just ridiculous. He's such a great scorer, just a great all around player. I enjoy watching him play. Um, Seeing their additions, I mean, they got bigger. I mean, they at least covered up for the spots that they lost. I mean, Cody Zeller coming in. I mean, he's not a starter, obviously, but he's still going to be a guy to come in that plays good minutes. Jordan Hawkins, great pickup in the draft. I mean, this team, I think, is a playoff team. This team should be a playoff team. Without Zion, they should be a playoff team, period. Another Western Conference team that I absolutely love to watch, a young team that is just, I mean, they're not even supposed to be winning, but yet here they are. And that's OKC. I mean, Shea Gilgis Alexander, what a jump. Just what a jump. Such an entertaining player to watch. I mean, damn. Josh Giddey, Chet Holmgren coming back from his injury, finally playing his first year in the NBA. I mean, I'm excited to watch this team. It's so many exciting young players in the league now. The league has gotten so much younger in the last few years. It's awesome to see because all these guys that have come in the last few years have just been excelling. It's so cool. As a basketball fan, you have to love it. I love it. Uh, David Bertans coming in at center. I mean, he's going to bring some solid. It's going to be solid for him. Kevin Porter Jr. In a trade that I honestly did not see coming or did not even think was coming. Um, what a pickup for them from Houston. I mean, they gave up. I mean, almost immediately they gave up because they acquired Victor Oladipo in a trade, and then they immediately traded him away. But flipping that for Kevin Porter Jr. solid, solid, and I think they definitely win more than 44 games. I think OKC takes that step forward this year. Now, number 13, the Knicks. Um, what a great year last year. Right now, I have them at 13, but honestly, I can put them lower because outside of Jalen Brunson, I do not trust RJ Barrett, and I definitely don't trust Julius Randle. Everybody else, though, Mitchell Robinson, I mean, obviously Dante DiVincenzo, I mean, great players, but I do not trust RJ Barrett. He's very, very unreliable and very just hot and cold. And Julius Randle is another one of those guys. You don't know if, I mean, you don't know if you're going to get a monster Julius Randle who just cannot be stopped or kind of like lazy Julius Randle who's going to be off and on. You just don't know. And, and that's what, but after last year, I could not drop them. I couldn't. I'm just looking at this team as a whole, and I just say they're still a good team with great coaching. Number 12, excuse me, Sacramento. Another team just full of excellent talent that has the ability to do great things. And I mean, they ran into Steph Curry last year, which is unfortunate, but to finally get to the playoffs after almost 20 years, those fans deserved it. That whole fan base deserves it. And De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis and Murray, last year, Murray, who's a rookie, that team just has so much talent. So much talent. They lost a couple key pieces though. I mean, losing Terrence Davis is huge. Uh, Holmes was huge. Me Too is huge. I those are definitely some big pieces to lose, but I think they definitely were able to um, kind of fill up those positions down low with Noel um, and Duarte. So I see them also. I see them winning around the same amount of games, maybe a couple games less, depending on how healthy they are. But I mean, again, they have Mike Brown as their head coach and another guy who's just fantastic as a coach. Um, man, he deserved Coach of the Year last year. Just nothing more to say about that. I mean, wow. Number 11, a team that also had just kind of uh, major changes, but then not major changes. And that's Memphis. Memphis had a great season for their in terms of Memphis Grizzlies basketball. They had a fantastic season, but it was just filled with so much drama. And honestly, seeing Ja Morant and the whole situation with that honestly pisses me off because I know guys who love basketball and played basketball on a competitive level that would love to be blessed with the talent that he has, but he's kind of pissing it away, and it just pisses me off. They needed to get rid of Dylan Brooks. I think that was 100% guaranteed. Like they definitely should have gotten rid of Dylan Brooks. Yeah, I mean, no more explanation on that. Um, Getting another couple of guys like Josh Christopher from Houston, Derrick Rose, who's going to bring you good guard play. I mean, and Marcus Smart, obviously. I mean, seeing him go hurt, but I knew that the Celtics were not going to win a title with him as their starting point guard. So I'm glad he's able to be in a system where I think he can flourish. He can flourish in the system, and I think the Grizzlies 100% are going to be one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. I mean, just Marcus Smart and Desmond Bain. What more do you need to say? Damn. Number 10, a team that really disappointed me with how they played, and that was Cleveland. I mean, I was so disappointed with how they played against, I mean, when they played against the Knicks in the first round and how just really they were just outplayed. It wasn't even close. It felt like it wasn't even close. And they did get better. I mean, they getting Niang from the Sixers. Um, Struce is a guy that I'm just like, I don't know how in God's name he is just on. I don't get it. I don't really don't get it. If somebody can explain that to me, because I mean, outside of the couple of games that he played where he was great, it's just been other games where he's just like you look at him and like, how is he a starting two guard in the league? How how is he starting? I don't get it. Um, but I mean, overall though, this team is stacked. I mean, Mobley, Allen, obviously Mitchell, uh, Garland. Just oh, man, I mean those are your starters too. I mean those guys are ridiculous, and I think unfortunately Jared Allen will be out at the start of the season. Don't quote me on that. Um, but overall, I'm looking at this team and I'm just like they're from top to bottom. They're good. They're great. They just need to put it together. And I mean, again, another young coach in the league right now, Bickerstaff, who has this team on point. I mean, another great coach. Starting at number 9, a team that I can't stand, that I personally hate, but I will give them the respect that they deserve, and that is Miami. Miami, they lost a lot of pieces. Gabe Vincent, Struce, Zeller, Oladipo. Gabe Vincent, I am happy to see go. Good riddance after you gave me nightmares in the Eastern Conference Finals. Good riddance. But I think they filled those spots up perfectly. I mean, getting Thomas Bryant from Denver was absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. He is going to be perfect in that system. Josh Richardson coming back after, I mean, he started his career in Miami, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I mean, he definitely excelled in Miami. Um, as a young player. And then RJ Hampton getting a fresh start. We'll see what happens there. I think he'll be okay. But again, it's the system. It's that the heat culture that everybody keeps talking about that I always make fun of. And they'll be there again. They'll be there again. I still think that this team is like one major trade and one major all-star acquisition away from actually being able to win in the finals. They have all the ability to get to the finals. The problem is, can they finish? And they just don't have that other all-star, solid all-star player that can get them over the top. That's just how it is right now. And unfortunately, they're kind of stuck because they don't really have the pieces to be able to go out and get it unless they get a third team involved, which I doubt any team in the NBA any really going to try to do that to get them in a better position, especially in the Eastern Conference. Again, number 8, a team that personally I think that they're slowly on the downward trend of their run. That I think that their run is about to end, and I'm talking about Golden State. Um, Golden State lost a lot of pieces, but they also were able to fill them up. Chris Paul, I really don't get that trade. I mean, I don't get it. I mean, where how does that lineup going to work? So you're going to put Chris Paul, obviously the starting point guard. Are you going to put Curry at the 2, Clay at the 3? Then where are you putting Wiggins? Where are you putting? Is Draymond going to be the starting center? I mean, what about Looney? I don't get how this is going to work. I don't. I just don't. I think maybe after a while, Kerr will realize, hey, Chris Paul needs to be the guy off the bench. Period. But I mean, I don't get it. But then again, they're still going to win 45 games, I think, because it's just Curry, Clay. If they stay healthy, they'll be perfectly fine. Number 7. Speaking of staying healthy and being perfectly fine, the Clippers. Um, this season's going to be basically, this team is just, again, another one of those teams that are just so stacked. But their 2 superstars finally playing together and staying on the court and playing is going to be the decider of which this team is what this team is going to do. And I mean, again, they have too much talent. They have way too much talent. I mean, Zubats or whatever his name is down low. I can't believe I'm blanking. Um, just, but let's start at the backcourt. Yeah, they lost a couple pieces, but I'm still looking at it like you still have Bones Highland. You still have Russell Westbrook, who is slowly coming back and playing team basketball. And I mean, I can't stand the hate that he gets. He doesn't deserve the hate that he gets. And you have Bones Highland. You have Norman Powell. You have, I mean, it honestly, pisses me off how good this team is and just how shitty they play. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. And I'm hopefully the new rules when it comes to the minimum amount of games you can play. Hopefully they'll be finally push Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, the 2 guys who take advantage of that crap the most of sitting out games. Hopefully that can get them off their asses and they can play and get the Clippers into a position to possibly challenge for a championship. Because looking up and down this lineup here and looking up and down this roster, this team should be in the Western Conference Finals every year. With the coaching they have in Tyronn Lue, again, this team should be in the Western Conference Finals every single year. Period. Period. The fact that they can barely get by the first round, let alone get by the first round, let alone the second round, is honestly a disgrace. It's honestly a disgrace. I don't care what anybody says. It's a disgrace. And boy, I can't stand it. It honestly pisses me off because I feel for Clippers fans because they actually deserve better than that. They really do. They deserve Los Angeles. I can't believe I'm saying this. Los Angeles fans deserve better than that. Going to number 6 is a team that I personally cannot stand. Also, just because of how much they open their mouth. But I mean, my team owns them, and that's Philadelphia. I think it was huge for them to get rid of Doc Rivers. Huge, 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 huge. They needed to get rid of him because I'm sorry. I know Doc won the Celtics last title, but he's not good in big game situations. And you saw it last year, the lack of adjustments, just everything. I mean, there needed to be a change. And boy, they made that change. I mean, Nick Nurse is a good coach. Another one of those guys that I couldn't, I can't stand, only because I just rivalry thing, I guess, and division rivalry, in my opinion, for me anyway, personally. But picking up some solid pieces. I mean, getting Mo Bamba, who is going to be just a spark plug off the bench, getting Kelly Oubre. Man, I did not expect them to get that. And obviously getting Patrick Beverly, who's going to bring that defensive intensity, and also that annoying little asshole that uh, teams need, or at least championship teams need, that really kind of just takes the other guy's player or star player out of their out of their rhythm. Um, I think this team is another. I mean, it just depends on the James Harden situation. The James Harden situation is honestly what keeps Philly up in the air from either being number 3 or number 15. Honestly, because I don't know. Nobody knows right now. Um, it's you don't know. You don't know, and it's honestly irritating to see because it's like I'm all for players having the power to do and decide for themselves what they want to do, but just to force yourself like this, force basically say, I don't feel like playing here anymore. I want to be gone, and basically forcing yourself out of a situation because you don't like it. Not just one time. This will be the third time he forced his way out of Houston. He forced his way out of Brooklyn, and now he's forcing his way out of Philly. And it's honestly irritating. It's irritating to see. It's it's so frustrating because it's honestly, in my opinion, I think it ruins his legacy. I mean, he's one of the best scorers of this generation, and he is just and even when he doesn't need to score in the system in Philly, he's become an excellent player as a point guard. He's become, I mean, he still scores, but he is an excellent distributor. So, I mean, it's just irritating, and hopefully that situation, either he kind of gets his shit together, is up to him. And going at number 5, a team that I, as a Celtic fan, was born to hate, the Los Angeles Lakers. Um, this team got 100% better. 100% better. There's nothing on this team that says that they did not get better at all. I mean, getting Christian Wood, basically they were able to stack their bench, and with a team that could be a starting lineup uh, on a couple teams in the league. I mean, Cam Reddish, Torrent Prince, Gabe Vincent, and Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes, just unbelievable. Along with the pieces they already have, this team has the ability to win 55 games. And it's all up to the health of AD, and it's up to how much LeBron plays. That's just how it is. And if D'Lo continues playing great, because I mean he shrunk in the big moments last year. I think if he shows up in big moments this year, you're looking at a team that could possibly take down Denver. There's only 2 teams. Well, there's only one other team I think that has the ability to take down Denver right now, and we'll talk about them later on. And coming in at number 4, a team that made a big splash in the offseason, Milwaukee. Um, man, I mean, what can you say about Milwaukee? I mean, they really just kind of rebuilt everything a little bit. I mean, they still have Giannis, they still have Brook, they still have Portis, they still have good talent. But adding Damian Lillard, adding that second option, that official second option now, you have a second option now to kind of have the ability to take over games, because I know Chris Middleton has not been reliable these last few seasons because of his injuries. So seeing that you're going to be able to take the pressure off of Giannis, and also, I mean, Giannis also said it in a post game after after a preseason game. He's never been this open. So that tells you how this team is going to be operating. I mean, but I think that the reason why they're not number 1, well, the reason why they're not number any higher for me is because new coaching. New coaching, I think will take an effect here. Um, I just, you, that's just me though. New coaching, I think, will be slow for them in the beginning, and I wish Adrian Griffin all the luck, except when he coaches against Boston. um, at number three now, number three, team that also made a splash, pretty much the first splash of the offseason, and I'm talking about Phoenix. Phoenix, they got 100% better. Um, Up and down, you see this team just got better, and there's not even close. And you see the losses, and then you see the additions. Frank Vogel, that team is going to be a defensive-minded team, and it's just an unbelievable up and down. They definitely have bigs now. They definitely have bigs now. Yusuf Nurkic, Eubanks, Bol Bol, Me Too. Ridiculous. They have ridiculous length, and I don't expect anybody to drive to the basket with them. Then the backcourt. I mean, obviously Bradley Beal, the big name right there. Bradley Beal, Keon Johnson, Grayson Allen, Watanabe, Little, just hell, Eric Gordon. Eric Gordon. I mean, you're looking at this team and you're just like, okay, this team could win 60 games. If everybody stays healthy, well, if honestly, if a majority of them stay healthy, they win 60 games. And it's not even close. I really, this is a team that I think can take down Denver. I fully believe that. This is the team looking at it up and down their roster, looking from starters to the back of the bench. They have the ability to take down Denver. They do, 100%. Coming in at number two, I'm biased. I don't care. The Boston Celtics. Now, everybody's thinking, oh crap, look what they lost. But I am fully a believer in the fact that Marcus Smart was not going to win us a title as the starting point guard of the Boston Celtics. He's just not reliable as a point guard. Um, and we needed it. We needed that one reliable point guard, a guy that could calm us down in those moments where we're falling apart. And unfortunately, Marcus Smart just wasn't that guy. I mean, there were times when he was taking bad shots and it drove you nuts. It drove me absolutely crazy. And I think getting Drew Holiday was massive. I did not expect that. I personally think they might have given up too much. The giving up Brogdon and Robert Williams, I thought was a bit much. Um, Getting Porzingis though was huge. Our pick and roll game is going to be nuts. I mean, I honestly, defenses are going to really have trouble defending us because you don't know if Porzingis is going to be sitting in the back, sitting at the 3 point line and shooting, or if he's going to drive to the basket. Or I mean, you don't know with this team. And I mean, with Jaylen Brown now cemented, about to be a Boston Celtic for the rest of his life, thankfully. I mean, we don't have to hear any BS trade rumors about that anymore. It honestly is going to come down to coaching now. And again, what I think um, one of the big acquisitions that you don't see here is hiring Sam Cassell as a assistant coach. Uh, Joe Mazzulla struggled last year, and it cost us. He struggled a lot, and it drove me nuts, and I know it drove a lot of Celtic Nation nuts. But hiring Sam Cassell, a guy who not only has that NBA vet experience, who has won championships as a player and been big moments in big playoff games as a player, and then also have been a solid assistant coach for Doc Rivers for many, many years, he brings that experience in big moments as a coach and as a player that can, I think, guide Missoula and push him in the right direction when shit is hitting the fan, basically. And then obviously hiring Van Gundy as a special assistant, which I did not see coming, but I very much enjoy. I like it. I like it. It adds more and it gives Missoula a chance to learn and grow as a coach. And I think he is the kind of the last bit of it for fully kind of pushing the Celtics over the top. The thing I am nervous about Boston though is if injuries were to occur, and if an injury were to occur, it might not look good, especially to our big guys, because I mean, outside of Porzingis, we have 40-year-old Al Horford. I know he's not 40, but I mean, come on. Um, Yeah, and Luke Cornett. So that's where I'm extremely nervous. But I think that the pros definitely outweigh the cons with this lineup, and with the I mean, this is by far one of the best lineups in basketball. Period. And they should be Eastern Conference champs by the end of this year. There's no ifs ands or buts about it. They should be Eastern Conference champs. And if they don't be it'll be another failed season. Period. And then lastly, at number one, I'm giving them this respect because I don't care. I know people don't like to do that, but I mean, they're the defending champs. They have the best player on the planet. Don't care what anybody says. He's Jokic proved that he was the best player on the planet. He's unstoppable, a walking triple double. And the only thing I see going wrong with them is the big pieces that they lost on the bench, such as Brown, Bryant, and Green. Huge pieces. Um, but I think their talent as a whole, Jamal Murray, Otto Porter, Aaron Gordon, just all of that, all of those guys, they're going to be playing more minutes. But I think you see that lineup, and I mean, along with Christian Braun and just a couple other guys on the bench. Like, I mean, just I look at it and I still see that they're the best team in basketball. And until I see otherwise, they're the defending champs and they're the best team in basketball. Period. There's no denying it, and that's where I see them at right now. But well, guys, we're coming to the end of the video here. That is the very first power rankings from me on the channel. Let me know how you feel. Let me know if I got it right. Let me know if you think the Lakers should be higher. Let me know if you think the Suns should be higher. Let me know if I got it wrong with Houston. I mean, I know I put them up pretty high and I'm holding them in high regard, but let me know what you guys think about the Houston Rockets. Let me know about what you think about your teams. Where do you disagree with me? Where do you agree with me? I want to know. Um, please, 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 please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Um, I very much appreciate those who have subscribed. I appreciate those who have given my videos a couple of views. I appreciate it. Keep it coming. I enjoy it. Feels good to see that you guys enjoy the content. Definitely more to come. So get ready for that. So thanks, guys, for joining in. See you next time.